Okay, so this one, both are running. I'll be over there.
Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to our event today. Before the event starts, I just wanted to mention that this event is recorded. Will be much appreciated if you can set your phone into mute. So first, this is the very quick structure of this event. First, we will have this opening, and then later all the teams gonna start pitching. And then after that, we can just network with each other. So quickly mention about our sponsors. Firstly, Epic Events, that is Anna. Special thanks to UC Berkeley Extension to give us this great venue. 51VR is the company that I'm working for, is virtual reality startup. And then the next, we will welcome our 4 judges today, and can you please give a very short introduction of yourself and then your company.
Hi, my name is Raed Nazri. I'm with Transform VC. We are a deep tech and strong network effect seed fund based right here in San Francisco.
Hi everyone, thanks for coming, thanks for having us. My name is Allison Steets. I'm with Blue Run Ventures, a early stage venture capital firm based in Menlo Park, focused on seed and Series A opportunities in enterprise software, fintech, digital health, and deep tech.
Hi, I'm Caroline. I'm with the Seed Stage Investing platform. We have both an angel network and a venture fund. The angel network is called Irish Angels. The venture fund is called Vitalize VC, and both focus on seed stage investments across all industries. Our investors are all Notre Dame alumni, hence the name Irish Angels.
Hi, I'm Yaniv. I'm with Outfunders, so we invest in everything that is AgTech, FoodTech related, pre-seed to Series B. I should mention that it looks like today the startups are not necessarily in the kind of companies that we invest in, but I still hope I'll be able to provide some interesting insights.
So next page is for the team and judges. This is a quick pitch structure. First, each team has 3 minutes to do your presentation. I know the time is limited, but I'm sure you are prepared. And then after that, you have 3 minutes Q&A, either from the judges or for the audience. And then last, we have 4 minutes feedbacks, each minute, 1 minute per judges. Okay, so let's welcome our first team. Our first team is Avatar by Email. Correct me if I pronounce it wrong.
Yes, Avatar, thank you.
So this is your mic.
All right, great.
All right. It's not there. There we go. Super. Does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. Great. All right. I'm good. Super. All right. Thanks everybody. Thanks for your time. I'm happy to be here. My name is Devin Copley. I'm the CEO of Emiv. Our product is called Avatar. It is a VR telepresence platform for the property industries. People in property-related industries have a lot of conversations about places, whether it's the property branch, job site, whether it's investors, senior personnel, contractors, field managers. You have this constant situation where people need to talk about a place. And there's right now 2 options for doing that. Either you travel there, which gives you the high context that you're all talking about the same place, but it's high cost, not just in money, but also crucially in time. Or you do a standard video conference, which is low cost, but also low context. Waving a phone around a space or walking it through a property is not a great way to understand what's going on there. We provide a new option called Avatar Remote Presence, which is high context and low cost. We use off-the-shelf hardware, which has only recently become available, low-cost 360 camera with an Android phone, and VR headsets, which are not required, but actually make the experience much more profound. And up to 5 guests from anywhere in the world can visit a real place in real time. It's more like a teleporter than it is like a video conference. You can look around, you can see how the light falls, how the traffic flows, where the HVAC goes, the kinds of things that normally require you to be present. It's a little hard to describe, it's easier to understand. This is shot from inside our product, from within one of these headsets. You see we have 2 users who appear as avatars to each other. They're having a conversation with the foreman who's on site, and they're going to talk through one of the problem that's come up on the site so that they can make a decision and move the project forward. The market opportunity is quite large. We see opportunities across several different subsectors within the property-related industries. We use as a proxy travel spend within those industries. It totals about $200 billion in the US alone annually. And you can do a bottom-up calculation based on a variety of things, such as the number of branches among the top 10 retail stores. One of our early customers, a couple of our early customers, Apple and Gap, are in that chain retail segment. The competitive landscape shows how we're different from anything else currently available on the market. We capture the real world in an immersive and interactive fashion. There are other products that combine 2 of these, notably some of the 3D capture tools, which are entirely static. The ability to actually have a conversation about a place in real time is at this point completely unique. We are experts in this field. Myself and my co-founder Prasad formerly ran the software team for the Nokia Ozo, where the 360 camera was invented. We have a dozen patents in the field, and we've worked with some of the we've powered some of the largest productions that have ever been made in VR, including the Champions League and the Super Bowl. We have 12 customers now in beta. We launched in September. Among them are major construction firm DPR Construction, major real estate firm Compass, major chain retail firm Gap. We are soliciting feedback from them to drive the further product development and to guide us as we go into commercial release Q1 next year. I think that's the end of my time.
Cool. Sounds good.
Great presentation. Is this on?
Yeah.
What's the secret sauce? What's the defensibility?
So there's 2 aspects to that. There's the sort of technical aspect and the business aspect. On the technical side, actually being able to deliver that experience is quite challenging, especially under low bandwidth conditions. So we have some proprietary tech around managing the frame rate, managing the projection, managing a bunch of different things in order to make sure we can deliver a good experience, even if the uplink and or downlink bandwidth is insufficient. There's also some just user experience aspects of it. It's an entirely new way to communicate that we've made some progress on. On the business side, there is a sort of platform aspect to this as well. We have a cloud-based processing system where we are working to expose an API against the recorded visual data, which allows us to sort of create a way for to get integration into vertical specific things like BIM or CRM systems. This is not something that's, this aspect doesn't exist in the market today. So if you look at like HoloBuilder, for example, people are trying to build these entirely vertical integrations rather than building a general purpose platform for capturing spatial data and sharing it with, and allowing third parties to develop connectors through to related vertical specific systems. Did I get through that whole thing?
What initial feedback have you received from your existing customers?
So Gap's a good example. We were working with a project manager who's responsible for 20 stores a month. He renovates 20 stores a month. And from point of view of, well, first of all, he wants to buy 10 of them. He justified it to his management by saying, look, we think this can save as much as 50% of our travel costs. Now, I think a more, personal reaction is the architect at Apple that we work with, his wife sent a text saying, thank you for doing this because he won't have to travel so much. So there's the savings, the savings help you justify the cost to management, the savings of money, the savings of time is really where the value is.
2 questions. Where do you manufacture the product today, and is there room to scale that? And then second question, I thought I saw 1.4 million in revenue to date. Is that from the 12 pilot customers?
So yeah, but 3 minutes is time to make a number of things that are confusing, right? So first of all, we make no hardware. This is all off-the-shelf hardware that's readily available. We do provide leased hardware as an option for the customers who don't want to deal with having to get their own, which turns out to be most of them. The $1.4 million, when we left Nokia, we acquired some of the software we built. So we have a legacy product that has thrown off about $1.4 million over 2 years, which is how we've kept the lights on and developed this new product, which we launched in September.
Okay, thank you. We'll have to stop here. And then now we have to welcome the judges. Give 1 minute per person your feedback.
Fast.
All right, I'm not sure that I have 1 minute of feedback, but I was just not particularly convinced about the defensibility, so that was the first question. So you mentioned, maybe I can turn it into a question, but if you can tell us a little bit about what would prevent other big guys or other companies from really copying what you're doing. Even you said you have 12 patents, but I'm sure there are ways of working around it.
Yeah. This is a challenge with any company, right? The business model that enables that sort of network effect that we would hope for in the current sort of enterprise phase is that platform where we make it easier to create an integration with our platform than to build one of your own in order to exploit this sort of spatial capture data for a variety of different industries.
Yeah, I guess my feedback, I know it's hard to do a 3-minute pitch, but if you had time to include something on the competitive landscape, and there's so much going on in AR and VR right now, and just kind of what makes it different than everything else out there. And then this is more of a question, but does Nokia own any of the company?
No.
Yeah, I thought that it was a good pitch. There's obviously, I agree with my colleagues here on pushing out like really what's differentiable and what you guys are building. I had questions also about more about the business model, like how, what's the unit cost of the devices themselves. And then understanding a little bit more like, sure you're saving people time and money for not going there or not having to be on site, but are there other things that you can capitalize on, like say more about the sort of data that you're able to collect and how that could also optimize other people's manufacturers' processes as well. And then I don't know if you're raising money or what your ask was.
Right.
But
I left out the ask slide.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are.
Okay, yeah, so that's usually a helpful slide to make sure that you put in there too.
I like how you're thinking about network effects and all that, but before the network effects start taking effect, I guess execution and getting as many customers as possible is really the key here. So I actually have heard of an idea similar to this where the founder or one of their partners or something had owned a real estate brokerage, and that helped them. I think their application was more for appraisals.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm sure you can cover.
Yeah.
But maybe think along those lines. How do you out-execute everyone else until the network effect kicks in?
Makes
Something
sense.
to consider, yeah. Good job.
Thank you.
So you have 1 more minute if you want to say something more. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I think we could get questions from the audience too.
Yeah, sure,
Or
that'd be
if any
fine.
of the audience has a question, we have 1 minute for you.
How do you do marketing?
It's actually hard because we're kind of creating a new category that doesn't exist. So there's not a lot of existing sort of search volume. What we've discovered is putting the headset on is the most important way that we close deals, or that we get, turn interest into action. So we do a lot of trade shows. I was just at one earlier today. So, that's what happens. If you put on the headset, you understand why it's 10x better. If you just listen to me describe it or even show it on the screen, it's a lot harder for me to convince you. So that's a bit of a constraint for us. We're hoping to be able to, as we create this category, even if a competitor like a Zoom enters, they validate that category for us, and that would be very helpful because it would drive more traffic to us. Yeah.
Can you tell us about the raise?
Sure. We're looking to raise $500K to get us past our commercial launch in Q1 to be positioned for a proper seed.
All right.
Okay, perfect. So now our second team, substitute.
Yeah, so.
Good evening. Thank you for being here. As you can see, these clocks appear to give the same time, but upon closer inspection, they're slightly off. But for something more precise, they're way off. And when it comes to fashion and fit, people have been giving the unidimensional answer, what size are you? And it's been frustrating to many women. So here's some data to explain what I mean. These are the 9 body shapes of women. They probably look similar to you, but they're actually quite different to each of these women. And they're compared against the population of women and the runway of New York Fashion Week and how those items are going to flatter each of those body shapes. And you can see here for the hourglass, there's a 1-to-1, pretty much a 1-to-1 ratio. The rest of them, there's quite a void. So that's a mismatch of body shape to silhouette and design details, leaving about 70 to 80% of women very disappointed in what they're finding on the shelf. That leads to $22 billion of returns and failure and also in the landfill because of this mismatch of fit to body shape. It's mostly visible at the point of sale. It's aggravated by logistics that are suboptimal. But the problem is really at the design, the origin is at the design studio. And here's our solution, it's AI design, where designers bring in their inspiration. We analyze brand DNA, and we also analyze and predict trend, and bring in population description by city. Using our AI, we can create original designs. It's a vector output that will feed into Gerber system. Together, this combines a design management platform and creating a new category called audience advocacy. It's a $7 billion market from the bottom up. There are 200 companies that are at the point of sale addressing size only, but because we had designers and engineers together, we knew that shape was the first question to answer before you go into size. So this is a well-vetted problem. We developed this prototype with Samsung and Verizon in their 5G lab. We have 3 patents supporting this. We have a go-to-market strategy that we've tested with designers. We're raising $4 million for our seed. We are creating audience advocacy, but I've done 3 new categories previously. I've done 2 predictive modeling companies with successful exits previously. I had my own fashion label for 5 years. And Nick and I have both he's a serial entrepreneur as well. Thank you.
Who do you sell to?
We sell to designers, and this is in the platform is a four-phase platform. In our first phase, we're selling to designers of brands and retailers that have private label.
How do you charge?
It's a subscription model. We're working through our alpha right now to get the exact, our model is based on $500 per seat per month on the bottom up.
How many pieces have you helped develop?
Personally, quite a few.
Oh, so the platform.
In the platform, it hasn't been used in practice. We're in alpha right now, but we have talked to a lot of designers. The CEO of a major women's label was on our customer advisory board, and we have a number of major brands that are all household words on our customer advisory board helping us develop this.
What's the 200K ARR from? Is that from pilot?
That's projection, that's what our goal is with the money, what we'll deliver with the money.
Okay.
So actually, I want to give you.
That's a nice idea, though.
If I can give you the opportunity to talk about traction, you went really fast, but I was curious about, you had multiple logos there. You can talk about traction.
Well, right now, over the summer, we discovered we could do AI design in this novel way. So we immediately made a left-hand turn towards that and focused entirely on that. So we worked with Target for 18 months and developed our point of sale recommendation product. But what we found, quite frankly, is that the e-commerce community doesn't believe it's a shape problem. They believe it's a size problem, which is the low-hanging fruit. But soon they're going to run into the barrier that they can only solve so much. But we know that designers are the early adopters now, and they want the solution, so we're going to sell to them, go down to merchandisers, and walk down back to them with that product stuff.
On the product, how are you gathering the shape data? Like, I saw that you have all the census data, but if I want to buy a piece from
Census data?
or whatever, that first slide you showed of
We
like.
analyze the fashion weeks ourselves. We design technology. We have superior AI visual recognition technology.
But for how do individuals how do I know whether or not the shape that my body is going to be reflected in
Yeah.
what a designer is doing, or how is that
Yeah.
what's the feedback loop? from
Yeah,
customers?
right. So we have developed a quiz, that's a 6-question quiz that's really well tested through Target. We have a 91% completion rate, and that whole process gives them 11% lift on returns end to end, a lift on sales end to end. So just taking a simple quiz saying my waist looks more like this than that, it's a visual quiz, tells us what your body shape is.
And then you anticipate the whoever to stock these garments to stock all shapes, or is it on demand, or what's kind of the?
So we have a limiter on the number of SKUs because we don't want to increase the it would be a nightmare if we just listed a bunch of SKUs to solve that. The problem is getting the right silhouettes and the design details in the right location on the garments. When you do that, you can serve a much broader population. The problem is the designers are in their creative space, and we're taking the analytical side off their shoulders so they can remain in the creative space, and we're taking their designs and adapting them to all body shapes so that we're working together with them to solve the problem. And we put a limit on the number of SKUs so we can solve the maximum number of people.
Yeah, we have to
Yeah, we have time, yeah.
Sure, I mean, what you're doing seems really interesting. It's outside of my realm of understanding. I would have liked to spend more time to understand it better, but it seems interesting.
So I think you moved quickly on some critical slides, I think, like especially on the the product, like how the product works and what your go-to-market sales strategy was. I think that there were some slides, like you had a slide there that was talking about your patents. For pitches that are 3 minutes, I don't know if you necessarily need to have spend the whole time on a slide with provisional patents or pending patents. So that's one way to save time, and then really kind of go into how the process works, why it's valuable to designers, why designers would pay you for it, how much they might pay you for it. These are the things that are really good. But I thought you did a good job explaining the problem, and then also talking about what you're looking for. Yeah, good job. Thank you.
Yeah, similar to that, I would say just in terms of the pitch, I left not really understanding what the product was or who the target customer is. After we asked some questions and you explained it a little more, then I thought it sounded really interesting. So maybe just refining that kind of first 2 slides would be helpful.
The clarity.
Yeah. And then it's always useful on your ask slide to share more details about the terms of the round, what the valuation is, how much is committed, things like that are helpful as well.
So I will start by, I mean, obviously it went a little fast, the last few slides, but I think that kind of similar to my other question before was about defensibility. So I see a lot of companies in the space without even being necessarily, an investor in the space. So I think that this is something that you probably will get asked a lot about what's different from other apps in the space. I think the other part is going to be around, so you mentioned, for example, that $22 billion is wasted due to this. So I wanted to make sure that it was really due to the fact that it was not the right size. Is this the data that you found, or is it just waste in general in the textile industry?
Returns are a $50 billion problem, 22 or 44% is due to shape.
But is it really wasted in the sense that because they can still sell it to other people, right?
No, it's returns in. That's the return portion, and much of it ends up in the landfill. I don't know which part of it ends up in the landfill.
I see.
I don't know that answer.
And the other part I'd be curious about is because you said there are these different sizes that you will be addressing, but how do you know that there won't be returns as well? So have you tested whether or not you also will get returns with your system?
We know that with the our recommendation technology, which is based on the same technology, what we call the forward version of this, we increase sales end to end. That's after returns 11.1%, and it comes with a p-value of 0.00. So yeah, that works. So in terms of design, designers unanimously agree. In my experience, agree, and I'm a designer who agree that this is a problem that needs to be fixed. It's just impossible to fix without AI. It's just not possible.
And two final very quick comments. One is going to be around, so when we invest in companies also have a software component. I think one of the most important things for us is going to be around team, and you will be able to do that. So that's really something that I wish, I didn't get to really, because it was so bad. And the other part.
We've known each other 12 years.
Oh, so yeah, so a little bit more about who will be building it, and then finally, I don't know enough about the specific space, but when we see a company raising $4 million seed, it's generally a little bit, sounds too much to me, unless there's really really good justification for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. Thank you. So let's look on web 13, Anna and her AP score.
Hi, my name is Anna. I'm a co-founder of APScore. We do concrete 3D printed robots to build houses. So today we build houses literally the same way as we did it thousands of years ago. We still use a lot of labor and materials, and but what if we could have autonomous robots that can build the entire houses on site and take all of the hard work from us, so we could build faster and much cheaper. So that's exactly what our company did. We invented a specialized equipment that can build continuous walls directly on site. That means that you don't need a lot of workers to build and assemble heavy bricks and blocks, because printer just forms the needed shape of the building directly on site. And thanks to the compact dimensions of the printer, it can be easily brought to the construction site, and also you can build houses literally of the unlimited sizes. And our technology allows to build wall structures 8 times faster and twice cheaper versus the traditional masonry construction. And our main competitive advantages is the unique design of the printer, because it allows us to build entire houses on site of any sizes, while other companies, they use a gantry and heavy printers, and for them it's easier to print the separated walls, but it's pretty similar to the precast construction. And during the 4 years doing the project, we demonstrated the workability of the technology through multiple prototypes. We were recognized by NASA, and recently we 3D printed a huge project for Dubai government, and it's official Guinness record as the biggest 3D printed home so far. And we also have a pre-orders in the United States for printers and for projects. So our business model is to provide 3D printers for subscription or leasing model and generate our revenue by supplying the 3D print material for construction companies who mainly do residential construction. And so the South states of the America have the biggest demand of the concrete single-family houses, and we believe that within 5 years we can supply and provide enough printers to generate more than $200 million annually by supplying the 3D print material. So our valuation can be about the $1 billion. And so now we raise $1.5 million to implement our go-to-market strategy. Mainly we need to pass regulations, test a 3D printed home, and launch the first material production line. And our team consists of the people with extensive experience in robotics, material science, and software development. So together we achieved a very great result recognized by NASA, and we have been doing this project together from the beginning, and be sure to be the first company to print a lot of houses under.
Okay, thanks. Now it's the Q&A.
Can you talk a little bit about where the 3D printers are made and produced and what all of that looks like?
So we started the project in Russia, and now all of the printers are located in Boston. We recently relocated to Boston, and our headquarters is there right now. And we also have 2 printers in Dubai that we use for our project in Dubai.
And then how are they different than other 3D printers out there?
So our printer is handy and mobile because we have a unique design, so it easily can be moved around the construction site using regular pallet jack. So you can keep printing and printing and printing, while other companies, they use existing equipment like the robotics arm or gantry printers. So gantry printers should be all the time bigger than the house that you want to build. And the robotics arm, they're very heavy, and it's very easy to move them around the construction site. You just need a forklift or any special vehicles to move them.
So I really like the idea. It sounds very futuristic, but I'm curious if you can talk a little bit about the cost and how does it really, save money for people who want to build houses, let's say.
Yeah. So the main saving is thanks to we don't use a lot of labor. So we mainly don't use labor. We just need labor to assist printer or to install the rebar, for example. So that's the main cost reduction. And for the United States, it's very make a lot of sense because here the labor cost is very high. So we are really reduce them, and this is why we can achieve the twice cheaper construction only for wall structures. So we build on the wall structures. Yeah.
2 questions, 650K, tell me how that revenue came, and 2, the labor costs in Dubai are obviously very low. So how are you able